The man dug out a hand from the sand. He immediately picked up the pace because a child was buried inside. The rescue team got a call a moment ago. An 8-year-old fell into a sand pit. The captain rushed to the scene. Seeing the kid's dad using a shovel, the captain shoved him aside, started digging barehanded. Turns out, using tools recklessly could hurt the kid. The rest of the team arrived. They slapped some boards on the surface, stuck dividers all around to keep the sand pile from caving in again. After many shovels, a little hand finally emerged. Following the captain's lead, everyone pitched in. Finally, the kid's head was uncovered. A firefighter handed over an oxygen tank, put a mask on the kid. After a few minutes, the kid suddenly gasped for air. Dad hears the kids up, rushes to the sand pile, but the firefighters put the brakes on him. Looks like this dad still hasn't learned his lesson. What a poor kid.
The boy got shot in the forehead, yet he asked the firefighter, "How many points?" When the firefighter checked him, he insisted he was totally awake, but as he was about to be put into the ambulance,
Arrow. What arrow?
The boy suddenly started to panic. Only now did his brain realize he'd been pierced. At this moment, his friends suddenly started to get flustered because the arrow on the boy's head was shot by the two of them. They wanted to shoot an apple on the boy's head, but they overestimated their skills and shot directly through the boy's head. How would you rate this shooting technique? A man's ring got stuck in the car. His finger couldn't get blood flow. It started to die. Firefighters decided to cut the ring, but the man disagreed. He said he would rather lose his finger than lose the ring. His wife thought he was crazy, but he said,
Deb, it's the symbol of the last 30 years.
Moved, his wife kissed him. Then she said,
"Cut the damn ring off, now."
An hour later, the ring was finally cut. The husband was freed successfully. He tenderly picked up the ring, kissed it, but when his wife was asked to go to the hospital with him,
Thanks, but I've got to feed Taj our cat and finish an email to my niece.
what a touching love story. The man was suspended in midair. The firefighter tried to grab his hand. However, just moments ago, 6 workers were left hanging midair due to a scaffolding malfunction. The firefighters only have 2 ladders, and each ladder can only rescue 2 people at a time. Just as the firefighter comforted the man hanging precariously from ropes, he shouted to save his crew first and not worry about him.
Get my crew first. Get them down. I'm the foreman. I go last.
Everyone was moved by the man's selfless spirit. Now, only the man was left. The captain decided to save him on his own. He climbed to the top of the ladder, but was still slightly out of reach. The captain extended his hand. The man suddenly slipped, nearly falling, causing everyone below to watch in suspense. The airbag below wasn't fully inflated. If the man fell from that height, he would be in serious danger. The captain encouraged the man to reach out his hand.
Reach, give me a hand. Give me a hand. Reach out. Reach.
The captain watched the man fall and regretted it deeply. Doctors put some lubricant on the woman's belly. Then, just a moment ago, the woman had come to the fire station, hoping the firefighters could help her deliver her baby. Because her water had already broken, she sat down on the ground and covered herself with a blanket. But during the checkup, the doctor realized that the baby wasn't in the right position. Without proper equipment, the firefighters had to help by hand.
One more big push, Nancy.
The woman, veins popping on her face, pushed with all her strength. Finally, the baby was born. She took the baby from the firefighter. Both mom and baby were safe. Would you have your baby at a fire station? A man stuck a 3,000-degree iron rod up his nose just to stop a nosebleed. Today is his younger brother's funeral, but because his brother loved drinking, family turned the funeral into a party with alcohol flowing. Dad and aunt started arguing, and when big brother stepped in to stop them, he got punched, nose bleeding badly. Dad just laughed, saying a drink would fix it, and handed him a glass. Big brother drank it all, but the blood wouldn't stop flowing. Dad then grabbed a hot iron rod and handed it to his own son.
Right up in there.
How much money would it take for you to put a hot iron rod up your nose? Poor paramedic was threatened by the terrorist.
Fix it, and I won't kill you.
The girl had to treat his wound. To buy time, she deliberately removed the glass shards slowly, causing the blood to flow out quickly. Then she lied to the man. An arterial tourniquet was needed to stop the bleeding. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to take more than 5 steps before collapsing. She dared him to try if he didn't believe her. The man believed her and let her bandage him.
Just hurry the hell up. You got 5 minutes, and then you're useless to me.
The girl pretended to search for a medication in her bag. Then, While the man was not paying attention, she sprayed an unknown liquid directly into his eyes. The man, furious, hurriedly chased after her.
Help! Maddie's got a gun!
The boy's head got stuck in the artwork. Firefighters decided to destroy the artwork to rescue him, but the museum director strongly objected because the artwork is worth billions. If it were you, what would you choose?
We don't have many options here. We got a kid in danger.
Firefighters insisted the child's life was more important than the artwork. Just as the captain was about to forcibly dismantle it, a firefighter suddenly noticed the artwork's base wasn't welded. It could be dismantled. The director breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. The firefighters immediately began the rescue. They first secured it with a rope, then pried open the base, used wood to gradually tilt the artwork. Finally, they rescued the boy, thanks to the firefighters' hard work. God bless you all.
Help me! My boy can't breathe!
What happened?
The boy made choking sounds constantly, but the firefighter found nothing in his airway.
Hit him on the back. I gave him the Heimlich, everything, and nothing's working.
Suddenly, the firefighter discovered a foreign object in his nose. He pressed the boy's left nostrils and instructed his mother to blow into his mouth. The mom, undeterred by the fact that he had just vomited, performed mouth-to-mouth resuscitation without hesitation. Once, twice, a metal piece flew out. The boy started breathing again. The mother held her son with relief.
That move is called the mother's kiss.
The nearby firefighter picked up the metal piece and realized it was a battery. The boy was very lucky. If the battery had gone down his throat, it could have been fatal.
My nose hurts. Then don't put things up there.
The woman in pale seemed to be asking for help, but before the firefighters could react, the man paid the bill and pushed the woman out of the restaurant. The firefighters wanted to stop him, but he drove away directly. They chased the car immediately. The black firefighter suspected the woman who asked for help just quarreled with her boyfriend. They may overreact.
Brad, what do you think this is? Like a domestic situation or human trafficking? I don't know. She looked right at me and mouthed the words "help me" when I wasn't paying attention.
They followed the car to a warehouse. At the moment, the man pushed the woman out of the door. The woman didn't want to get in the car, but the man pulled out a knife to threaten her, so she had to comply. Seeing the man was about to drive away, the firefighters decided to take action and block the man's car directly. The man, realizing he couldn't get out, revved the engine and rammed the car once, twice, and a third time. The police arrived in time and arrested the nut finally. The scoreboard suddenly fell, but the kids were still swimming in the pool. The lifeguard outside got electrocuted and fell down, but luckily the wires hadn't fallen into the pool yet. The children in the water were temporarily safe. But just as the firefighters were getting the kids to swim over, a boy swam towards the wires. The firefighters had no choice but to jump into the pool to rescue him. But just as they were pulling the unconscious lifeguard out, the wires suddenly swung. The firefighters finally caught up with the boy and safely brought him back to land. However, the firefighter couldn't get out because his clothes were too heavy. The wires were about to fall into the water. With all his strength, the firefighter finally lifted his legs out of the water before the wires fell in. Here's a question. Does water conduct electricity or N? The chubby staff asked the firefighters over quickly, saying his boss had been pinned by the dumbwaiter for 3 days and nights and was about to wet his pants. The firefighter calmly told the guy to hold on, then used an axe to temporarily brace the machine. The chubby staff told them his boss usually didn't do any work, but on a whim decided to unload the flour, and ended up pinning himself due to a mishap. The man asked his colleague to shut down the breaker, while the girl pulled the main breaker, leaving the shop dark totally. The firefighters had to rescue the boss in the dark. After 34 minutes later, the boss was freed.
Easy.
And sent to the hospital.
Lady's taking a shower inside the women's locker room. She looks up at the ceiling. There's this dude staring at her from inside the heating vent.
Firefighters enter the bathroom, hear the guy moving around. They follow him to a yoga room. The firefighters look up, see blood leaking from the ceiling. The firefighters decide to rescue. They bring in a table, open the ceiling. A ventilation duct is exposed. One firefighter uses a screwdriver to open the duct. Suddenly, the duct falls down. The guy runs away frantically. The guy climbs onto the roof through the duct. He meets firefighters outside the house. One firefighter tackles him down to the ground. Finally caught this peeping Tom. Next, what do you think should be done with him?
When the firefighters arrived, The car was completely wrecked. First, they cleared the crowd. Then they came to the girl's side. Though the girl was okay, her friend passed away on the spot. The firefighter wanted to rescue the girl, but couldn't open the car door. Objects kept falling from above. When the firefighters didn't know what to do, the captain rushed over. Under his orders, Team A was in charge of sawing the door. Team B was in charge of observing. The organized team quickly opened the door. The girl was finally rescued. Just as she was being carried out on a stretcher, more glass fell down. The first thing the conscious girl said was asking about her friend's condition to stabilize her emotions. The firefighters didn't tell her the truth. Do you think the firefighters did the right thing? This boy is getting his first taste of the ocean, but a tsunami decides to join the party. Thank the stars for Bram, Dad's ride or die. He scoops up the kid and starts hauling. But seriously, who thinks they can outrun a tsunami on foot? The man struggles in the sea. Finally, he manages to pop up, but the kid's vanished. He's yelling the kid's name. The boy is clutching onto a pole. Bran swims over, but the waves are playing hard to get, right when they're about to tag team. The man grabs a piece of driftwood and barely puts on the brakes. But now, the kid's grip gives out. It looks like he's about to ride the wave. Without a second thought, the man takes a dive. This time, he's holding on to that kid. It's his best bud's kid. If things went sideways, he's got zero clue how he'd face his friend. The woman's leg is stuck in the hole. Simultaneously, a large bus approached. Firefighters quickly positioned themselves in front of the vehicle. Other team members rushed over too. Despite the efforts of 2 firefighters, they were unable to pull the woman's leg free. The asphalt even scratched her thigh. The firefighters had no choice but to carefully dig her leg out bit by bit. The team medic quietly warned, if not handled properly, the woman might lose her entire leg.
Did you just say lose my leg? Is that true?
The woman's emotions were gradually spiraling out of control. Why did all the misfortunes have to happen in one day? It turns out, her best friend is moving away, but she has already fallen in love with her. Just then, the best friend arrives. The woman finally pours out her feelings.
More than just friend feelings and...
Unexpectedly, the best friend kissed her directly. It turns out, she harbored the same feelings. With the support of her girlfriend, the woman's leg was finally pulled free. Do you still dare to look at your phone while walking? The kid is bouncing on the trampoline. Out of the blue,
911, what's your emergency?
911 rolls up. Captain Cool discovers the lady's hand and waist, doing a tango with the trampoline springs. She's frozen, not daring to twitch a muscle. The guy asks, can she wiggle those fingers? Turns out, she's got finger freedom. Trampoline missed the nerve memo. Even the spring on her backside didn't pull a ninja move on her spine. Lucky break. Next up, the firefighters whip out a chainsaw. They chop the whole darn door off, lady included, and whisk her away to the hospital. At the hospital, the son hands her the phone and spills the beans. She's been accidentally live streaming this trampoline circus. Instant 1 million followers. The lady's pumped, telling her son, we're hitting the jackpot. The blackie simply had a cookie, but got pulled over by the police. Especially when they saw the Audi he was driving. The cops tightened their grip on their holstered guns. All this, just because the man is black. Even with all the proper documentation, the cops insisted he step out of the car, claiming suspicion of forged ID card. The man tried to explain but was immediately pressed against the hood. His daughter, witnessing the scene, quickly opened her phone to record, ignoring her father's warnings and getting out of the car. The father urged his daughter to get back in the car, but the officer tried to snatch her phone. At that moment, the little son in the back seat woke up. Seeing the police pointing a gun at his son, the father, unable to control himself,
Shoot my son! Don't you shoot my son!
The man then explained his wife is also a police officer, and not just any officer but a police inspector. He revealed his wife's badge number. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. Realizing they had tangled with a high-ranking official, the cops hastily returned the ID card, expressing misunderstanding, and hurriedly left the scene, leaving behind the father and his 2 children.
Mom!
Mother distances herself from her daughter. Later on, upon the arrival of firefighters, they find this pit plunging 40 meters deep. While the woman at the bottom still breathes, her entire body remains motionless. Despite this, her primary worry is her child's safety. Following an assessment, firefighters concluded the woman was bleeding severely, required immediate hospitalization. Nevertheless, the mother, hesitant to expose her child to the distressing scene, feared creating a lasting impact. so the captain handed the walkie-talkie to the child, enabling them to communicate with their mother. Upon hearing her daughter's voice, the mother finally broke into a smile.
I'm always with you. So whenever you feel sad or alone, just reach for each other. And that's when you'll feel me with you and remember that I love you.
Do you love your mom? The old lady finds herself wedged in the wall due to her generously sized breast. She pledges the immediate priority upon her release will be to opt for breast reduction surgery. The hot girl has been stuck for a full 24 hours. Her breath diminishes gradually, despite the firefighters exerting maximum force in their attempts to pull her free. The proximity of the wall renders their efforts futile. The woman's complexion deteriorates, prompting firefighters to suspect compression injuries, cautioning her against movement. They guide her to grasp her fingers, diverting her attention. However, the lady is already short of breath. Under the guidance of the firefighters, she took advantage of the moment. Placing tools into the crevice, she directed her teammates to promptly apply lubricant. Subsequently, with a determined exertion, she successfully extracted the woman. Is this an ad for lubricant? Infant slowly descends into the water, on the verge of drowning. Fortunately, the woman suddenly woke up, lifted the baby from the water. Even though the doctor assured the baby was fine, the mother still felt a deep sense of guilt, took the child to the fire station.
Not now, and maybe. I know that you're gonna take really good care of her. And she's better off without me.
The firefighter husband, upon watching the video, teared up. Meanwhile, his wife arrived at the seaside. Since giving birth, the wife had been raising the child on her own. Overwhelming pressure left her breathless, longing to end the pain with death. A few days later, the woman woke up. In order to undergo treatment, moved back to the hospital in her hometown. After recovery, she returned home once again. By this time, her husband had learned the art of parenting, pledging never to let her bear the burden alone again. Have you ever experienced overwhelming stress? At the zoo, a dude throws a rock at a tiger. Not satisfied, aims for a second shot at its head. A hot girl steps in to shut down this lousy behavior. The guy, beet red, makes a quick exit with his two sidekicks, but, mid-bathroom break, shouts outside beckon him back, sniffing out chaos. He rushes out.
What happened?
He only hears the tiger's low growls getting closer. He spins around. There's the same fierce beast he'd teased earlier. Looks like the punchline is payback. Spotting this, the guy dials emergency services in a sitcom-worthy panic. Paramedics advise him to chill, but he brushes them off, spins on his heels, and makes a run for it. He hops over the fence, thinking he's got the last laugh, but tigers aren't stand-up fans. In a flash, the tiger leaps into the iron cage. When the firefighters hit the zoo, all they catch is the tiger having a stand-up feast on the guys. Do you think this is the punchline of karma? The old man picks up a turtle, but under the ice, there's a boy's face. On closer inspection, the boy's eyes open. Just a moment ago, the boy was playing on the ice when it unexpectedly cracked. He fell in, struggling. A turtle crawls over, blocking his last hope. Luckily, a passerby notices, sees the boy in the water. Firefighters arrive, tearing a bedsheet into strips for a makeshift rope. Slowly, with the help of the sheet, the dude approached the boy, chipping away at the ice. But just as he is about to pull the boy up, the ice cracks again, and both fall in. In this critical moment, the bedsheet plays a crucial role, pulling both to safety. The man clinched the bodybuilders championship. His father, the former champion, eagerly took the stage and hoisted the trophy with him. But the firefighters arrived promptly. The scene is pure chaos. The father and son found themselves stuck on the stage, getting an earful from furious fans because the substance in his arm is synthetic oil, intended to bulk up his muscles. To everyone's surprise, the father is a fraud. All the honors he tirelessly earned throughout his life are completely trashed today. This will also mess with his son's future. After some emergency medical attention, the firefighters were ready to take him to the hospital. However, the irate fans cornered them. The black policewoman had to grab the microphone.
I don't know if what this man did, but I do know this. That pursuant to section 148.2 of the California State Penal Code, it is a misdemeanor to willfully obstruct emergency personnel from discharging their official duties. Now let me advise you, do not obstruct.
Finally, The crowd dispersed. Before leaving, the guy decided to ditch the hard-earned trophy he just got. The man was burned alive on a tanning bed. Rescuers gave him a chest massage. The guy's chest skin practically became best friends with their hands.
Nope, he's gone.
Nearby, the girl thought he deserved it. Turns out, yesterday, the man left his poor dog locked in the car. The coworker warned him about the blazing 37-degree heat outside, saying the pup might turn into a hot dog. But he snapped, "Not your dog, not your problem. Just get back to work." Off to the gym he went, concerned for the dog. The coworker stormed into the gym, grabbed a dumbbell, and headed back. The guy, clueless about her agenda, stayed in the oblivion zone. Another colleague reminded him about the busted timer on the sunbed and asked him to fix it. The guy shrugged it off. Then, the unmistakable sound of shattering glass. He dashed out, only to find his car window smashed. Furious, he promptly gave the boot to the woman. But the next day, when she swung by for her paycheck, she found our man already on the sunbed, extra crispy. The guy was taking a leak. Out of nowhere, the portable toilet skyrocketed into the sky. Just a minute ago, the guy really had to go. He rushed to the portable toilet in a hurry. As soon as he shut the door to answer nature's call, a blast of hot wind hit. The girl's ice cream melted in the blink of an eye. The temperature kept climbing. The guy inside the toilet was sweating buckets, so he stripped off his t-shirt. He wanted to bail, but when he tried to open the door, the handle was scorching hot. The sealed space kept getting hotter. Realizing it was getting dangerous, the guy started calling for help. Out of the blue, the portable toilet soared into the sky. It surpassed the Ferris wheel, ascending higher and higher. The poor guy inside was tortured to the point of misery. With no other option, he dialed 911. The operator asks him where he is, but he's completely clueless. He tries to kick the door open, but the handle has melted and melded with the plastic. Just then, the toilet starts filling up with water. It seems the guy might have ended up in the sea. The water level keeps creeping up. The guy is absolutely terrified. The operator keeps reassuring him. After checking some info, she finds out the top of the portable toilet is fastened with screws and can be opened with a coin. Luckily, the guy has a coin on him. Just as he's turning the screw, the coin slips into the water, crushing the man's last hope. At this moment, firefighters roll up to the amusement park and locate the toilet in a massive water tank. They slice open the cover and indeed find the guy inside. A gal's attempting a yoga stunt, hanging upside down on the balcony, and then the rescue team storms in. She's frozen, contemplating life from the 7th floor ledge. They're ready to call in the CSI squad when she miraculously wakes up. Firefighters strap her spine for the grand descent. Her legs are now honorary noodles, so they slap on some splints for the road trip. Meanwhile, the woman, more worried about her phone than her fractured limbs, keeps babbling about it. Seeing her phone obsession, Captain Obvious sends someone upstairs. They discover the ongoing live stream. Turns out, our gal was attempting balcony yoga for internet fame and fortune. She bent herself into a real-life pickle. The girl is going full Primal on a steak. The dude can't believe his eyes. They're in the midst of a steak-eating showdown. The grand prize is a lifetime supply of free meals at this joint. She snatches a chunk of steak, shovels it into her pie hole, and then starts guzzling water. Blink, and she's transformed half a steak into a meaty memory. She mocks her opponent, earning cheers from the peanut gallery. The beefy dude, realizing he's outmatched, wisely concedes the meat crown. The gal, high on steak triumph, throws in some impromptu dance moves, but suddenly topples over. Enter the firefighters, who see the girl's bloated belly and initially think she's got a baby. It's only when they spot her bladder on the brink and the empty water cups that they realize she's got a serious case of hyponatremia. They improvise and catheterizes the girl right then and there. The restaurant owner tries to play peacemaker, but ends up getting hit with a surprise urine shower, turning his prized celebrity wall into an avant-garde art piece. Would you take a bite out of this wild challenge? The poor, chubby otaku died at home, discovered after decomposing. His body's turned into a decomposing balloon, especially his belly. Firefighters are scratching their heads, trying to figure out how to haul him out. The genius forensic expert suggests turning our hefty friend into a jigsaw puzzle to fit him through the trailer door. But hold up, there's a crowd outside. We can't let our guy, the lifetime Joker, lose his dignity in death. So, The man grabs a 777 meters knife and goes all operation room on the chubby guy's belly. Out comes a symphony of foul gas mixed with decomposing juices. The smell? It's legendary. The reluctant medical examiner, stuck with the cleanup, shoves tubes into the poor guy. Slowly but surely, the body deflates. They pack the chubby guy's remains into a body bag. He gets to keep a smidgen of dignity. Who knew death could be this absurdly entertaining? The chubby man, engrossed in watching a game, absent-mindedly puts foil-wrapped food into the microwave, causing the foil to catch fire. Unfazed, he tosses the flaming food into the trash, igniting it, and the fire spreads to the carpet. In a panic, he dials 911. The rescue team arrives, saving the security guard trapped in the chaos. Meanwhile, a call informs the captain about the burning factory containing fertilizer and nitric acid. The captain rushes to warn his teammates to evacuate, but it's too late. The factory erupts in a massive explosion, swallowing the team in a colossal blast. Do you know what things cannot be heated in the microwave? The hot girl holds onto a child, blood dripping from her wrist.
Wait, no, please don't call an ambulance. I can't afford an ambulance.
She pleads with a neighbor to give her a ride to the hospital. Andy insists her wrist needs urgent attention and argues for an ambulance. The girl shares her struggles, being a single mom with an unreliable ex, behind on rent and unable to cover ambulance costs. Andy makes do by using her t-shirt to stop the bleeding and has her husband call her dad, then comforting the girl.
Private ambulance service, he won't put it on the books.
Oh my god.
She eases up upon hearing the plan. The elderly man takes her to the hospital, leaving the couple to look after the kid. Unexpectedly, the little troublemakers start messing around with the man's toy gun.
I'm okay. Milo, are you okay? Okay, you're okay. You're okay. He's okay.
I don't think I'm okay.
Pay attention, the woman deliberately spills ketchup on the floor. Then, when nobody's looking, steps on it. This way, not only does she eat for free, the hamburger shop owner also has to compensate her. A man reverses his car without checking the rearview mirror. When he parks, he sees the woman lying on the ground directly. She claims she got a concussion from being hit by him and threatens to sue if he doesn't pay up. The man has no choice but to obediently hand over the money. At this moment, a fashionable girl appears, becoming the woman's new target. Just as she's about to reverse her car, the firefighters arrive. The woman keeps clamoring for compensation. Then, the black police officer shows up, finding she's the thief who stole packages before. In the end, the woman gets taken to the police station. The poor guy's sucked in the gut.
I can't feel my legs.
Buck asked him to show his hand up, to see if they could pull him up. The guy slowly stretched his hand, but slipped down immediately. The firefighter had no choice but to dig a hole to save the guy, making sure the target. Buck swung the hammer and started smashing the wall. Finally, caught a glimpse of the guy's feet, but who would have guessed he'd come out with this?
I gotta take a leak.
The captain thought to himself, don't wet us when we pull you. Finally, the guy was saved.
Who knew having a gun was gonna save my life?
The old lady picked up a bowling ball, found it covered in blood. Just now, the manager came to the back to fix the machine, while the staff were playing on their phones at the front. When customers arrived, he directed them to the machine being repaired. The woman in the back had just reached in when a customer threw a ball. The machine suddenly started moving, trapping her arm. When the fire department arrived, the woman had a weak pulse, was about to pass out. The firefighters could only start by giving her fluids. Because her arm was severely fractured, they had to saw off the support, create a steel splint. Then they were all taken to the hospital together. Before leaving, the woman entrusted Black to be the manager, and his first act as manager was,
Jesse, you're fired.
The girl stuck her head into the tailpipe like a horse. Just because the muscle guy flirted with her, the firefighters all laughed. After a quick inspection, they decided to saw off the pipe, but the muscle guy wasn't happy about it.
What? No, I spent $1,200 on that tailpipe.
The captain cared less about all that. Just as the firefighters were carrying out the rescue, the girls started flirting, only to be politely turned down.
What you're looking for, I have a son.
That's great. So do I.
After the pipe was cut off, the firefighter dripped a few drops of lube. Finally, the girl's head was pulled out. Who would have expected her first words to be,
"Wow, you really are hot."
The man's on the brink of death, but the emergency call he made before dying was maliciously hung up.
Sir, who hung up on you?
911.
Two cops exchange puzzled glances. They initially came for a meal, but the restaurant is deserted, with half-eaten dishes on the tables. Armed with guns, the officer head to the kitchen and find the barely conscious owner. He's been shot in the left chest, lying on the ground. The accompanying officer provides first aid. The owner comes to. He ran into a robber, but the 911 call got cut off. After probing, turns out it was Lily, a top-tier operator at the 911 emergency center, who hung up the call. She's been on the job for over a decade, touted as the most efficient and fastest operator in the entire police department. Soon, the police slapped cuffs on her. 8 months ago, Lily went through a divorce, couldn't handle the emotional blow, and vented it out at work. In no time, Lily was shown the door from the police department. Do you think this woman should be forgiven?
Will you marry me?
The next day, the floor panel loosed. The guy fell into the escalator and got twisted up in the chain. When firefighters arrived, the guy has totally got faint. The chain was sitting on top of his femoral artery. Loosening might made him bleeding out, but they could only provide basic first aid, pulling the guy out as the man laid on the stretcher.
What did she say?
His girlfriend, holding the ring, nodded. Just when everyone breathed a sigh of relief, the man suddenly vomited blood, shaking violently. No matter how the firefighter tried to save him, it was futile. In the end, the man was gone. Cherish those accompanied you. Firefighters just went to grab meal. The fire truck got stolen. The cops mobilized a helicopter and cars to chase the guy, but he was determined to keep going. He was doing all this because he dreamed of being a firefighter, but he kept failing the exams. So, he snatched a firefighter uniform, got himself a radio to listen in on rescue calls. Whenever there was a fire call, he'd sneakily join in, but just then, the fire department got a call. All their gear was in the stolen truck. Thinking fast, the intern radioed the guy.
Just wanted to say thank you for helping us out at the garage fire. I needed your help. We needed your help. You were there.
With the intern's soothing words, the guy turned the truck around and raced to the fire scene. Then the guy tried to slip away, but the cops caught him red-handed. A spirit crawled out of a grave, patting the woman's shoulder. The woman was so scared to immediately call 911. Firefighters arrived at the cemetery and almost got sucked into a big hole. It turned out that the man was helping to dig a grave. When he was sucked into the collapsing quicksand of the grave, another person was buried in the soil with him. For half an hour, the female firefighter thought digging by hand was too slow, so she went straight for the excavator.
Should still be in it.
The man was finally pulled up and taken to the hospital. Just when Buck praised her, she worried digging graves for people would bring spirits home with her. The mountain came down into the house. The woman was buried totally.
Can't breathe.
After speaking, she passed out. Firefighters tried to pull her out, but something seemed to have a hold on her, slowly pulling her down. As everyone stood there at a loss, the female firefighter dashed out to grab a water hose. People looked on, baffled, as she plunged the hose into the mud. Before long, the mud loosened. They successfully rescued the woman. Do you know what principle this is based on?
How did worms get in her eyes? Just moments ago, the woman couldn't see anything.
Oh my god, I can't see. I can't see! Help me! Call 911!
When the firefighters arrived, she couldn't open the door. The captain had to break it down. The medic checked and found a thin film over her eyes.
What was that? What? Thought I saw something move.
In my eyes?
They found what looked like worms in her eyes.
Sample jar.
Get in my eyes!
The medic took tweezers and pulled out a bug, then another, and another.
Oh, I can see again.
A few days ago, the woman and lambs were doing yoga together, but the lamb had face flies on it. A fly got near the woman's eyes and laid eggs inside. The guy was in a sauna, but couldn't breathe. Firefighters did CPR on him, but the next second, just moments ago, the guy accidentally crushed his arm while changing a tire. Firefighters gave him anesthesia, then lifted the car with airbags. The guy was saved, but he was restless and still wanted a low-temperature sauna. Ignoring his girlfriend's advice, he believed it would help cell regeneration.
And I hope you freeze to death.
The guy was really enjoying it, but the temperature quickly dropped to 0 degrees. When the firefighters arrived, the guy was unconscious. They pried open the machine, but the guy didn't move. Like a frozen sculpture, they quickly got him out and started resuscitation.
The man turned his head, only to see a black woman with eyes gleaming gold. Turned out, the man was high on drugs and started biting people like crazy. The cop warned him to stop, but he completely ignored her and charged right at her. He ends up being pushed back by the black cop's secret weapon, but he seemed unfazed, as if he doesn't feel pain at all. He even pulled out the electric shock line directly. The cop has no choice but to draw her gun. the man still didn't stop and ended up getting shot in the head. The girl stole her mother's painkillers and was taken to the hospital. After a whole night of treatment, she finally pulled through the danger. Her father came to apologize for his coming out, but unexpectedly, the girl said it wasn't his fault. She had been bullied. The black police officer was thoroughly enraged. She went to the bully's house, where they were having a party. The bully was totally confused. The black cop didn't waste any time talking to her either. She simply dug out a packet of marijuana from her bag and sent her straight to the station. A man got into a car accident, his head impaled by a steel rod, but he even wanted to move his head.
What's your pain level? Not much pain. I don't think there's any spinal damage. I can feel my legs, but when I try and move my head... No.
When he saw the video, he was completely stunned. Even the firefighters were amazed at how he was still alive. The captain comforted him.
Because you were the luckiest and the unluckiest son of a bitch on the face of the earth all at the same time.
Then, they secured the man in the seat and transported him, car and all, to the hospital. Will the man be enough lucky to ultimately survive? 3 guys were live streaming.
No pressure, Jess. Are you ready to join the ranks of the legendary?
I don't know.
One of them stuck his head into a microwave. The firefighter arrived immediately. They quickly dismantled the microwave and smashed the concrete with a few hammer blows, finally rescuing the man. But guess what? His friend grabbed his phone and started live stream.
Today's shenanigan is maybe our most intense yet.
Do you think they are true friends? At the pool, folks were having a blast when out of nowhere, a manhole cover fell from the sky, followed by an arm. Everyone was stunned. Just now, smoke started billowing from a manhole cover on a New York street. As this dude was about to check it out, his coworker 800 meters away yelled to stop him, but it was too late. The flames shot up, snatching the man's arm and launching it into the air before it landed in the pool. Firefighters rushed in and scooped up the arm, while the crowd cheered. But the big question remained, could they put the poor guy's arm back on? On top of a tall building, a bus showed up, followed by a massive explosion. Just minutes ago, raging floodwaters had tossed the bus onto the building.
That does not go there.
Firefighters saw the bus wobbling dangerously and calmed down scared passengers, but one guy's leg got stabbed by glass. He didn't listen and pulled it out. Luckily, a doctor on the bus tied up his leg with a belt. As firefighters saved trapped people one by one, they found someone stuck under the bus. The captain swiftly ordered the rooftop to release ropes. With the bus tilting, they quickly pulled the guy out. Everyone was safely out, but Sean, who has autism, refused to leave. The captain had to calm him down first. Suddenly, the bus started leaking oil. Jack hurried aboard to check, while the captain shielded Sean with his body. Thankfully, both came out okay.